Sally's just not cutting it. But what can I do? She was employee number 2. Hi entrepreneurs, I'm Vicky Brown, and you're in the right place if you want to engage your team, boost your business, and grow your leadership muscle. You know, this is one of those topics that come up a lot in my conversations with other business owners. And yes, there are the standard approaches we've all heard. Have the conversation early, document everything, be professional but firm. But, you know, today I want to explore some perspectives that don't get talked about enough. Because here's the thing. When you're dealing with an early employee who's no longer keeping pace with your company's growth, it's rarely as simple as they're not performing, so they need to go. There are layers here that most articles and consultants just don't address. And you know, if you're facing HR challenges just like this in your business, you don't have to figure it all out alone. That's why we created our membership programs. Whether you start with Simple Start Premier, which gives you practical tools and monthly expert advice, or jump right into IDEO on Call for direct HR consultation, we're here to support you. So check it out by using the link in the description below. All right, back to the issue at hand. Let's start with what I call the founder friend trap. Oh, don't give me that look. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That person who believed in you when your company was just an idea and a prayer. Maybe they're a friend or a family member who jumped ship from their stable job to join your venture, who worked for peanuts in those early days when cash was tight. And now, years later, you're sitting in your office, staring at performance metrics that just aren't adding up, feeling like the world's biggest ingrate for even thinking about making a change. That guilt, it's real. I mean, this person helped you build your dream. They were there when you couldn't afford proper office space and everyone was working from your garage. They stuck with you through those nerve-wracking months when you weren't even sure you could make payroll. They believed in your vision when it was just that, a vision. But here's the hard truth. Your gratitude for their early support and your responsibility for growing your company, those are two separate things. You've got to keep them in different boxes. Think about it this way. If you were having chest pains, would you let your cousin Larry perform your bypass surgery just because he loaned you money to start your business? Of course not. You'd want the most qualified surgeon you could find. Running your business requires the same clear-headed thinking. Your company isn't just about you anymore. You've got other employees counting on their paychecks, clients expecting top-tier service, and responsibilities that extend way beyond that early startup phase. When you mix up loyalty and business requirements, you're not just doing your company a disservice, you're actually doing that early employee a disservice too. Because let's be honest, keeping someone in a role that they've outgrown isn't kind. It's uncomfortable for everyone involved. So yes, acknowledge that guilt. It's natural, it's human. But then put it in its proper place, which is not in the driver's seat of your business decisions. Your gratitude for their early support can exist simultaneously with your need to make necessary changes. One doesn't negate the other. There are different chapters in the same book, and sometimes, for the story to move forward, you've just got to turn the page. Okay, let's talk about something that hits particularly close to home in growing companies, the Peter Principle, but with a startup twist. And before you roll your eyes thinking, here comes another management theory lecture, just stick with me because this one's different. You see, traditionally, the Peter Principle suggests that people get promoted until they reach their level of incompetence. But in a startup environment, it's not about promotions. It's about the company itself outgrowing its early team members. And this is where it gets tricky. In the early days, your first couple of employees probably wore multiple hats. Heck, they weren't just wearing hats. They were juggling them, spinning them, and probably inventing new ways to wear them. They were superstars because they could handle anything that you threw at them. Monday, they're doing customer service. Tuesday, they're managing your social media. Wednesday, they're helping with payroll. And Thursday, Thursday, they're fixing the printer and ordering office supplies while simultaneously onboarding a new client. And they were brilliant at it. They thrived in that scrappy, figure it out as we go environment. That ability to pivot on a dime and wear all those hats, that's exactly what you needed then. But now, your company has grown, and suddenly that jack of all trades approach just isn't cutting it anymore. Your employee number one, who brilliantly managed 3 people, now struggles with a team of 15. The systems they created on the fly, that Excel spreadsheet that was your first CRM, or that Google Doc that served as your operations manual, well, they just don't scale. That everybody pitch in mentality that worked so well in the early days, well, it's now creating confusion about roles and responsibilities. And here's the really important part. It's not their fault. Let me repeat that. It's not their fault. And honestly, it's not yours either. It's just that the game has changed. The skills that made them invaluable in a 5-person company aren't necessarily the same skills needed in a 50-person company. What you need now is specialists, process builders, people who can create and maintain systems that can scale. Remember when you first started driving? You probably learned on a regular car with manual transmission, and you got really good at it, handling that stick shift like a pro. But now, imagine someone puts you in the cockpit of a commercial airplane. Same basic concept, transportation, but completely different skill set and complexity level. Being an excellent car driver doesn't automatically qualify you to fly a 747. Well, that's what's happening with your early employees. The company has, in essence, transformed from a manual transmission car into a commercial airplane. And while some people can make that transition, others find themselves overwhelmed by the new complexity. The question isn't about their value or their historical contribution. It's about whether they can and want to make that leap with you. But before you start drafting that separation agreement, here's an approach that you might not have considered. Reverse mentorship. Yeah, you heard that right. Instead of immediately showing them the door, consider pairing them with one of your newer, highly skilled hires. Let them learn from someone who brings fresh perspectives and modern practices to the table. Sometimes what looks like resistance to change is actually just uncertainty about how to adapt. However, and this is important, you've got to watch out for the glass house effect. You see, long-term employees often build up this invisible fortress of, that's how we've always done it. They might not even realize they're doing it, but their resistance to change can create a barrier that's holding the whole operation back. And when they start subtly undermining new processes or new leadership, even unintentionally, well, that's when you've got a real problem on your hands. But here's where I want to offer a different perspective on handling these situations. You see, instead of the standard, thanks for your service, departure, maybe consider what I call a legacy offer. This is about creating an exit that honors their contribution to your company's story. Maybe it's moving them into an advisory role, or bringing them in for specific projects where their historical knowledge is valuable, or even giving them a special project to document your company's journey and lessons learned. The key here isn't just about being nice. It's about recognizing that your early employees are part of your company's foundation. How you handle their departure sends a message to every other person in your organization about how you value loyalty and handle change. Remember, as a leader, you're not just managing today's performance. You're setting the tone for your company's future. So while you absolutely need to make the tough calls when someone's no longer the right fit, how you handle these transitions matters more than you might think. This isn't just about ending a working relationship. It's about honoring a chapter in your company's story while still moving forward. Because at the end of the day, that's what leadership is all about. Making the hard decisions while keeping your humanity intact. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe and share. And as I mentioned earlier, if you could use some help as you navigate leading and managing a team, well, we've got solutions ready for you. Our membership programs are designed specifically for entrepreneurs just like you. From the Simple Start Premier with its practical micro courses and monthly Q&As to the comprehensive IDEO on Call program that gives you direct access to an HR expert. Just use the link in the description for more information. And remember, your inspired leadership is the secret sauce to having a high-performance team and a wildly successful business you'll love. I'll see you next time on Leader's Journey.